Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is the second video for October, and if you've watched my previous video about me changing my energy tariff, you'll know that I'm now on Intelligent Go, and therefore I'm going to be summarising my energy usage, my solar power generation, how much I've saved, how much it cost, and how much I got back in SEG in this video. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It's an easy way of helping the channel and it costs nothing to you. So let's get on straight into the figures. So starting off with the first graph, here is the generation for September, and I'm not going to lie, September was a terrible month, especially compared to previous years, which I'll cover right at the very end of the video. But as you can see, we've generated a total of 379 kilowatt hours from our 4.6 kilowatt array on a south-facing roof in Swansea, which goes down into a 5 kilowatt Solis hybrid inverter, and I'm using the Solis app to get these figures, and I've also got a 5 kilowatt hour pure drive battery. So you can see that overall the month has been quite up and down. There's been some days of very good generation, up just over 25 kilowatt hours, but there's been multiple days of less than 5 kilowatt hours. So our usage for the month of September has been 194 kilowatt hours. So less than last month, but that's because we were away on holiday for the first 10 days of September, so we expect our usage to be a bit lower. So if I was to have paid the price cap for that 194 kilowatt hours, it would have cost us just over £45.25. However, because for the first 24 days I was on Octopus Flux, which was charging overnight about 13p for import for 3 hours in the middle of the night, and then the price cap for the rest of the day, and then the expensive period between 4 and 7 p.m, where I never imported, or didn't import in September. And for the last 6 days from the 24th of September, I was on Intelligent Go, where I'm paying 7p for my import between 11:30 in the night and 5:30 in the morning. That the actual import I had was 88 kilowatt hours, and that cost us a total of £10.27. Which means that my overall saving for having the solar panels for the month of September has been £34.98. Of that 84 kilowatt hours we've actually imported, 79 were at the cheaper rates, whether that was with Octopus Flux or Go. So only 4 has been done at the usual daytime rate. And as I say, we had no import at all at the peak rate when on Flux. And that's one of the reasons why I've also moved to Octopus Go now, is because they don't have a expensive rate. It's just a cheap rate during the night and then a standard rate during the day. As far as export is concerned, over the month we have exported a total of 280 kilowatt hours. So you might ask, why did I import 80 and if I've exported 280? So part of that is just due to days when there's been multiple days of cloudy weather, but also because the export rate is more than the import rate, it makes financial sense to do that, especially with the Octopus Flux, where my export rate is always 15p. So of that, what that has meant, that of that 280, this is sort of a bit of a meaningless figure, about 245 of it was during the usual standard daytime rate, which for both Octopus Flux and for Go was at 15p. And when I was on Flux, I exported 34 kilowatt hours at the higher rate between 4 and 7 p.m. but as the days are getting shorter, we were exporting less and less during that peak time, and also just because the weather was so bad at the end of September, as you can see from the previous graph, we were getting no export at all in that period, hence why I made the decision to move to Flux. So the question is, how much did we get paid for our seg? And for this month we got paid £44.84 for our seg. So if we total that with the £34.98 that we saved from not having to pay for electricity, that means that a total monthly saving of £79.82, which is the fourth worst month of the year. Only January, February and March were less than that. So we've actually dropped below the April value, where we had a total saving of £89. And that's been a bit lower than what I was hoping for and predicted. Because if we look at this graph, which is our generation year on year, you can see that the grey columns is the 2024 for each month, while the orange is the 2023 and the blue is 2022. So September 2022 is the first full month we had with our solar panels, and you can see that 2022 and 2023 were reasonably level at 428 and 440 kilowatt hours respectively. So this month, because we only generated 379, we are over 10%, or around 10% lower than those previous two, or over 10% than the previous 2 years. So we're a lot lower down. So that extra 40 kilowatt hours, when you times it by the 15p that we would get paid for export if we had exported us, would have generated another sort of £6. If we were looking at the comparison to 2023, where we were effectively 60 kilowatt hours down, if we were doing that at the 15p export, we would have been £9, and then we would have been in the same sort of ballpark as April, which is what we were actually expecting. So that bad weather has had an impact on our payback for the month of September. Finally, if we have a look at this graph for today, this is the money we pay back each month. So you can see that from the grey column, we are definitely on that downwards curve for the year. But we were far better off than we were in September last year and the year before. And there's two reasons for that. First is that energy prices have gone up since those 2 years, because before I was on British Gas and only paying 20p for my import, rather than this year where I'm comparing to my the price cap. So there's some savings to be had there. And also, for those 2 years, I was with... Who was I with? I've gone who I was with my export, but they were only paying 5p for my export, so my seg payment has gone up significantly, even with less generation. So overall, for 2024 so far, we have saved and made a total saving, which is combining our savings from our electricity and our seg, of £763.90. So with luck we will still hit the £900 that I was predicting at the beginning of the year, but we'll have to see when we have a look at next month's figures. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. We've got lots of content coming up, including my journey of going into having a heat pump, and also some other modifications I'll be making to the house to save heating energy, because I still have a gas boiler over the winter months.